We have two basic choices as human beings as to how we use our minds, and they could be defined as open intelligence and closed intelligence. And the distinction between these two is a little bit like being on the top of a mountain as opposed to being in a valley. And when you're on the top of a mountain, you have a clear, broad view of all of the surrounding scenery and all of the features of the scenery and all of their meanings and definitions. And when you're in the valley, you have a limited perspective, so you have a perspective that only sees part of the whole picture, so to speak. And so in terms of our actual experience, being in a valley is when we are only referring to what we've learned and then re-referring to that again and again and again to try to understand what's going on. And open intelligence is to be completely uncontrived and without the need to refer to any understanding. So open intelligence is to be completely relaxed and open without the need to bring to mind any particular way of seeing things at all, and similarly without the need to keep out of mind any particular way of seeing things. So when we're needing to constantly refer to what we've learned about ourselves, about our partners, about our friends, about the world, then we only see it like that. And especially if we're feeling the need to defend that position, then it's even more limited. So we see things a certain way, and then feel as though we need to prove that that's correct, and then naturally from that perspective what we see is a lot of situations where we're needing to defend and protect the way we see things, or even in the most extreme cases even be aggressive towards opposition views to the ones that we are needing to hold to. So it's quite a struggle to, for example, need to be right, or to need to, or it could be just more innocent than that, just the need to, that intense wish to finally just understand everything, which is so natural to us all. It's so natural. We have such a drive to comprehend, a drive to understand, and the hope is that if we can one day finally understand, then we'll know how to deal with everything. If we finally understand one day, then we'll know how to have no negative points of view. So, and of course I'm speaking from my own experience and sharing. This is very much how I lived my life before I came to this training, was that this incessant need to comprehend, to understand, and thinking about everything all the time, obsessively, analysing and strategizing and so when I came to this training, I was lovingly guided to rely on open intelligence for short moments, repeated many times. So to somebody like me who was so kind of so strongly habituated to needing to work everything out and think about everything and analyse everything, it was actually slightly scary to just relax and not need to do that. But persisting with that, I found such incredible relief, and very quickly as well, only for short moments, But that was a huge relief. Wow, fantastic. Relief for short moments, 3 times a day or whatever it was. So whenever I remembered and felt I had the capacity to do so, I would just totally relax, completely relax the story, completely relax the need to go into the descriptions again and again and again to try to arrive at a satisfactory answer. So by taking those short moments, what becomes increasingly obvious is that the answer that we always wanted is the essence of every experience. And while we're busy trying to work it all out, it's always there. So that feeling that something is missing is the fullness of what we're looking for. And this is really the essence of the teaching, the inseparability between open intelligence and all data, every single thing, every phenomena, every perception. The inseparability between open intelligence and data. So it can be compared to a crystal ball, which is inseparable from all of the reflections that appear within it. The crystal ball is completely without any problems whatsoever. It has no need to struggle with any reflection that appears within it. And so that's the same as us. When the crystal ball is red, it's a crystal ball. When it's blue, it's a crystal ball. The only thing that's there is a crystal ball. And when we feel this ungraspable sense of there being something missing, something essential missing, and thinking about how lovely the chips in the YHA are, it's the same open intelligence. It's the same total problemless expanse of reality. So the capacity we have as human beings is to experience everything fully. We can experience every single emotion fully without any fear at all. And we can discover that by allowing ourselves to feel everything completely for short moments. And in intimate relationships, this is somehow particularly obvious, is that you cannot avoid negative states. You cannot avoid negative states. You can't anyway, but when you're in an intimate relationship, it's annoyingly more obvious. Or maybe not annoyingly, but it's just more obvious. It's somehow more intense. The heavenly points of view are more intense, and the hellish points of view are more intense. And that's brilliant. So fantastic. Jackpot. Because you can't do anything about it. So you can then really experiment with this, relying on open intelligence for short moments. And of course, it's such an amazing talk, this one from Candice. I really love this talk. And the thing is that when we have the capacity to experience all of our afflictions completely and feel and know instinctively the inseparability of everything, know instinctively the inseparability of those afflictions with the open intelligence that we've always looked for everywhere. So we feel, for example, irritated by our partner, let's say, and in that moment we have a choice. We have a choice. So what are the two choices? One is to immediately make a story out of it. Or it could be irritation about ourselves in relation to our partner. It It could just be that we all have different dispositions. Some of us are more inclined to be constantly self-critical, and others of us tend to be more externally critical of others. So whatever our disposition is, it always comes down to the same thing. We have a choice when this comes up. When our partner does so-and-so that annoys us, or when we do so-and-so that we wish we never did because it annoys our partner, we can either make a story out of it, worry about it, need to analyse it, need to grasp for a solution that will provide us with an escape from it to ensure that it won't happen again. Or we can completely relax and really feel everything that we're feeling with total stability, with total openness, with total realism. This is it, this is being alive. Knowing instinctively, well, this is it, this is life. I experience everything, and it's so boring to try to escape it all the time. It's boring partly because it's impossible, and partly just because that there's much more fun things to do with our time and energy. So our afflictive states, treat them with the greatest respect. They are the key, they are the door to everything we ever wanted. They bring with them gifts of, unimaginable gifts of everything we ever wanted and more. We've never been told that, so we didn't recognize it. But we can now start to see that our afflictive states is really, that is the lover we always wanted. And so now when there's two people together in a relationship, if one or both of those people know this about themselves, what beautiful. Beautiful. Then there can be such real empathy, a real relationship. A relationship with total understanding of ourselves and therefore understanding of the other. And the only purpose, Candice has said many times, the only purpose of a relationship is to bring joy and bring joy to the other person. That's it. We already have everything we need, so there's nothing to grapple for. So the purpose of a relationship, not just intimate relationship, but a relationship in general, is just to bring joy, to bring peace, to bring harmony to the other person, to support the other person in these things. And so that makes it a lot more simple. That makes it very simple. If we're in a relationship trying to satisfy ourselves, then it's always going to be a struggle, because you can't. You can't. Everything we ever wanted is in us. So that's where we need to find it. And then we can have a really amazing relationship.